Okay, just imagine for a second. You're told that the person you love most in the entire world is about to die. Every single expert, every doctor, they've all just given up. What do you do? I mean, what can you do? Well, this is the story of a man who was pushed into that exact corner. And what he did next, it's going to completely change how you think about hope, about technology, and just the raw power of human will.
And that was it. That was the verdict. 3 days to live. And get this, that wasn't just from one hospital. We're talking about doctors in 2 different countries, Bangladesh and Malaysia, all saying the exact same thing. For Mohammed Nooranabi's mother, the clock had run out. It was, for all intents and purposes, a medical death sentence. No ambiguity, just finality.
So this is the big question, right? This is the puzzle we're going to unpack. The guy at the center of all this, he wasn't some hotshot surgeon or a medical researcher. He was a restaurant manager, a food and beverage worker who'd had his dream of working in tech crushed years ago. So how on earth did he manage to find a way forward when the entire medical world saw nothing but a dead end?
All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Section 1, an impossible diagnosis. And I mean, this wasn't just a grim outlook. This was considered an absolute, a terminal cancer diagnosis with a brutally short timeline. And it was that moment that kicked off this unbelievable journey. So that brings us to our unlikely hero, Section 2. His name is Mohammed Nooranabi, but he goes by Jewel because, to really understand how he could pull this off when modern medicine had failed, you've got to understand who this man was and the world that had tried so hard to crush him long before this.
Just look at this transformation. It's incredible. On one side, you have his past, right? A decade working in restaurants, no fancy IT degree, and just this constant cloud of doubt from the people who should have been supporting him. Then you look at the other side, at the man he is today, a full-stack AI developer, a totally self-taught tech wizard who got hired through LinkedIn purely because of the skills he built himself. The leap from one to the other is just staggering.
And that doubt I mentioned, it wasn't just some minor skepticism. This is what his own father said to him during a really low point. You don't have the value of a rickshaw puller. Can you even imagine hearing that from your own family? That's the level of personal adversity, the lack of belief he was up against basically his whole life.
This resiliency showed it wasn't new. You can see it all through his life. From his school days, cycling miles and miles through the mud just to get to class, to 2012, when his family actively crushed his dream of studying IT. But then you get to 2023, and something changes. He starts quietly teaching himself AI. It was just a personal passion project. He had no idea that this little hobby was about to become the most important weapon in a fight for someone's life.
And that brings us right to the heart of it. Section 3, Man and AI versus the world. Because when he was faced with his mother's diagnosis, Jewel did something completely radical. He just refused to accept it. It was now him armed with his brand new self-taught skill against the combined certainty of the entire medical establishment.
And this is a really important distinction. He wasn't just, Googling symptoms. No way. He turned to AI into a legitimate research partner. He took every single complex medical report, every scan, every piece of paper, and fed it to the AI. He used it to translate all that dense medical jargon, to find hidden patterns across different tests that a human might miss. And then he used it to search global medical databases for treatments that doctors in his corner of the world might have never even heard of. He was literally hunting for a needle in a global haystack.
And what this shows is the brilliant strategy behind it all. This was not some desperate emotional lashing out. It was a cold, logical, step-by-step plan. First, use AI to truly understand the problem on a molecular level. Second, use it to search the entire world for a solution, which led him to a specific treatment in India. And finally, he used that same AI as a project manager to plan all the complicated international logistics, visas, flights, hospital transfers flawlessly. And all of this while everyone at home was telling him he was crazy.
Yeah, while he's executing this incredible plan, he's also fighting a war on the home front. His own family, especially his father, were totally against it. At one point, he was actually accused of trying to sell his own mother, whatever that means. It's just horrifying. Friends were mocking him. He had absolutely zero support. It was just him and his AI partner against, everyone.
So, Jewel had found a possible way out, a flicker of hope. But there was still one more massive hurdle to overcome: money. And that brings us to the ultimate sacrifice, a moment that shows you just how much he was willing to put on the line to see this through.
See, before this whole crisis blew up, Jewel had been teaching himself another really complex skill: crypto investing.
He got deep into what's called DeFi, or decentralized finance. Think of it like finance without the big banks. And he was good at it, really good. He had managed to achieve a mind-blowing 170-fold return on his investment. He was building a real fortune, on his way to total financial freedom.
And he gave it all up. All of it, without a moment's hesitation. Every single cent of that 170x gain was cashed out to pay for his mother's travel, her hospital stay, in this incredibly complex, inexpensive operation called a Whipple surgery. For him, it wasn't even a choice. It was his mother over a fortune, period.
But even liquidating a small fortune wasn't enough. When his own funds were totally drained, he didn't stop. He just shifted gears. He launched a charity fundraiser and worked tirelessly for 3 straight months to pull together the final bit of money they needed for her life-saving robotic surgery. The man just would not quit. And against every single odd, it worked. The surgery was a success. And in the aftermath of this incredible, exhausting trial, both Jewel and his mother were essentially given a second chance at life. So this is the story of their rebirth and the new mission that it sparked in him.
I mean, just look at this. The victory, his mother is alive, and she's been cancer-free for over a year now. It's a miracle. And for Jewel, the man who was once told he had less value than a rickshaw puller is now a full-stack AI developer, earning a solid salary. And he's even founded his own tech company, from zero to rebirth, for both of them.
But here's what's so telling about his character. His new mission, it isn't to become some big-shot CEO or chase his Silicon Valley fortune. No, this whole experience forged a brand new purpose in him to use these skills that he fought so hard to gain to build technology that helps ordinary people who are struggling, just like he was.
And this is his vision. He wants to go back to that world of DeFi, the one that gave him that windfall, but this time he wants to build the tools himself. Tools that give regular people, not huge institutions, a real shot at financial freedom. He wants to make technology serve humanity, not the other way around.
And really, that leaves us with his final thought. Jewel's story, it's more than just inspiring, right? It's a profound statement about where we are right now. When you pair that unstoppable human determination with the incredible power of artificial intelligence, the very definition of impossible starts to get a little blurry. It really makes you wonder, what other challenges that we thought were completely unsolvable are now, maybe, just maybe, within our reach?